Hello everyone, Rascal Entertainment's here.
And Mama Entertainments. Welcome to our podcast. Since it's Black History Month, we're going to give a spotlight to some of our favorite iconic voice actors in animation.
First and foremost, they're voice actor all-stars and deserve their own podcast spotlight. So first off, who do we have?
We have Keith David, who is the OG of these voice actors. He's been not only an actor in movies and television series for decades, but he's just an awesome voice actor. His voice is so distinct there's no mistaking him for anywhere else when you hear him voicing a character.
And recently we just saw him in his most recent role on a Netflix series. They did a reboot of Stretch Armstrong and Flex Fighters, and he's the voice of I think the director on there. Yeah. Along with another voice actor who we featured on this list, but you have to wait for him to come up.
O.K Banks?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was trying to do this surprise.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well.
Sorry. But he's got such a distinctive voice, this baritone, and he's got this elocution that is flawless. And it just makes him stand out when he does characters. And the great thing about him as a iconic voice actor is even with this distinctive type of voice that's perfection speaking, he does all different types of characters, a whole range of characters he voice acted. He also does, characters that are in all walks of life and all different fields, and he does them all convincingly. And it's just awesome that he still is being, he's still in high demand. He really is in high demand.
Right, because every once in a while he's like, oh, it's Keith David. Like, already?
And another thing that stands out about Keith David is he's been acting since 1977. I mean, that's longevity. This Juilliard-trained voice actor is just outstanding. We could go on and on all day, but let's just name a few things that he's been in. Besides Flex Armstrong, he was in
Gargoyles. He was actually Goliath, and I had no idea he was in that because I had never seen the show. He was Spawn in Todd McFarlane's Spawn series from the 90s. Yeah, so I never watched it either, so that was a shock. But I did find him in The Princess and the Frog, where he was the villain, Dr. Facilier. Facilier. And apparently he was in Rick and Morty. Don't watch that either. Apparently he's the president.
And he's done appearances in just a host of guest appearances in animated series over the years. So, and he's also known for, as I said, with his distinctive voice, he's done some voiceovers for documentaries, including for National Geographic, Comic Book Superheroes Unmasked, and he also replaced Paul Winfield as a narrator on this A&E show that our Nana used to watch called City Confidential. So he's just an outstanding talent, and we know you know him. Even if you don't know him by name, you definitely know his voice when you hear it. So just want to give a shout out to Keith David and tell you thank you for all the iconic characters that you voiced, and we look for many, many more decades of you and entertaining us with your enormous talent. Our next one
is Cary Peyton, which of course, as Cyborg from Teen Titans. Like, that's going to be the first role you think of when you think about him.
And Calderon from Young Justice.
Oh, yeah.
I have to mention that.
Oh, yeah, of course, because he sounded really great in that. Because I was like, wait, Ma, that's Cyborg. But he didn't sound like Cyborg. He sounded like a whole different person until that one line I told you, like in the beginning of the series he did, and all of a sudden he sounded like Cyborg for a second there.
Right. Now he's known for more than just those two characters. That when you hear him, you know him. He's also made some live action
appearances.
Yeah, including in The Walking Dead, of course. And but he's really a featured DC voice actor, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, because you know him so well as Cyborg, it makes sense to put him back in another show. Like I said, he's Cyborg, of course, and he's Aqualad, you said Young Justice. He's
the Royal Flush Gang.
Oh yeah, when they had this episode
Flush.
Yeah, when they had this episode Justice League, they had all the cast from Teen Titans, and they were playing a gang, a Royal Flush Gang, teenagers. And it was hilarious. It was all the Teen Titans cast in that, and then he was the voice of one of them.
Right. And he's also done some voice acting for video games. And his greatest role to date for us, outside of the DC universe, is going to be his appearance as Wasabi.
Oh yeah, he's going to be in the, well actually he is in the Big Hero 6 spinoff series from the movie. And he thinks he's going to play Wasabi instead of the, who was the voice originally in the movie? Damon Wayans Jr., I think?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, and then I guess they could not get him again, so, but he's a good replacement, because, you know, you just love hearing his voice.
And I remember when we were watching that movie, and the first thing we said is, we're surprised they didn't get Cary Peyton.
Right.
I remember us saying that, because as soon as you saw Wasabi, and you heard him, Cary Peyton came up.
Right. that was just good. Yeah, the miscasting, like, wait a minute, you should have had him first.
So he's been active since 1994, and you've heard him in literally dozens and dozens of roles in animated series.
Even if they're not main characters, even if it's a side character or a villain or something, you always hear him like, there's Cyborg.
Now this character, this voice actor, we hadn't seen before we heard him. And I just happened to be watching the movie with our Nana, and this guy was sitting at a bar, and you didn't see his face yet. All I heard was his voice, and I started yelling, Rascal, Rascal, come here, it's Cyborg, it's Cyborg. And it was the first time we actually got to see Cary Peyton, so his voice is so recognizable that even in a live-action show, I recognized him first by hearing and not by sight.
Right.
So just want to say thank you.
Right, and because you're pretty iconic, and not just now, but just for years since Cyborg to now, no matter what character you do, you're always going to be recognizable and famous in animation community.
And we're looking forward to you being back in the Young Justice revival, reboot, continuation, whatever is being deemed.
Oh, yeah.
On Netflix. We can't wait to hear you.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be awesome having him back on there.
Our next voice actor we're spotlighting is Cree Summer.
Oh, now we've heard her in a ton of stuff. It's like, what is she not in?
And she's just awesome and amazing. And she has this ability to just alter her voice where, for example, you recognize her in a lot of the kids shows like Kids Next Door and Proud Family, doing these voices where she has that raspy sound.
Right.
You automatically know it's her, and also as Susie, you recognize her.
Right.
But when she did Hagar in the Voltron Legendary Defender, it was just like, wow, can she really go there? And yeah, she just dug down. She went deep down and got this voice that was like creepy and awesome. So Cree's just amazing.
Right.
And maybe you want to point out some of the shows she's done voice acting for besides the few I've mentioned.
Okay. Well, like you said, Kids Next Door, of course, is number 5. And Rugrats for a long time, and all grown up as Susie. She was in Danny Phantom as Valerie.
Yeah.
She was actually a pretty cool character. Too bad they didn't have her in as much later on. And she was in Batman Beyond. She was Maxine.
That's right. And that was one of our favorite characters from that show. And we were not very happy when they reduced her appearances and had the audacity not to bring her back for the movie.
Yeah, it was so strange because you expected her to show up and all of a sudden it's like she was never there. I don't know if they couldn't get the voice actors back because of scheduling conflicts and they just couldn't do it or what. Right. But yeah, she was just vanished with no explanation.
Now, one of the first that she appeared in, and this is when you were little bitty, you watched Clifford the Big Red Dog, and she was Cleo the Poodle.
Oh, yeah. I still remember her in that role.
Now, her start, before voice acting, she starred as Freddie on the sitcom A Different World, and before she went to animation. But she's just made her mark in this industry. It's like when you got Cree Summer, you've got professionalism, perfection, recognizability. You've got someone that people automatically are going to identify with and love. And it's just great when we hear her in making an appearance in an animated show that we're watching.
Uh-huh. And wait, there is one more I want to mention that she was in when she in Proud Family. I know she's had quite a few roles in there, but I remember the one he was it Peebo?
Yes.
Peebo, hello, Mr. Proud. And she, oh wow, I always laugh every time he came on screen. Hey, Mr. Proud.
But I love the fact that as soon as you hear her, except for Hagar, you know her.
Right.
And as I said, Hagar, she just
it's a whole nother voice.
Right. So her voice acting career starts with Strawberry Shortcake and leads all the way down to Voltron Legendary Defender.
Right. So she's been in this game for a long time. Kind of like with Tom Kane and several other voice actors, he's just known for decades now as these iconic characters, no matter what show it is.
Mm-hmm. And she looks eternally youthful and absolutely beautiful. So Cree Summer, this is why you have earned a place on our spotlight. Thank you so much for all of your hard work, and we are ever so grateful for all the iconic characters that we love that you voiced and will remember. Mm-hmm. Next up on our list is the incomparable
Phil Lamarr.
Yes.
And first and foremost, he must bring up his probably most famous role ever, Samurai Jack.
Yes. I remember when I was watching this show, and of course it was before you were born. And I remember I first heard the actor's voice, and I was so curious, well, who's doing this voice? Who's doing this voice? And when I found out it was Phil Lamarr, I was like, no way, oh my gosh. After that, it was like all hell Phil Lamarr. It was just perfect for the role. And I actually remember him from a long time ago when I was much younger. He was a member of the cast of Mad TV on Fox, and he was hilarious on there doing stand-up, improvisation, and doing skits. And that's where I was most familiar with him from before the voice acting. But as a voice actor, he's left his mark. He is an impressionist, and also for doing characters that have been on some major shows such as Justice League Unlimited, Futurama, Static Shock, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
Definitely remember him in that.
And he's also done, and the character he did was
on Foster's?
Yeah.
Wilt.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm sorry, but that is not okay. And I'm sorry, oh, okay. He always said okay, or he's sorry and stuff. He was like a basketball player, looked like he was created by Michael Jordan, but they said Jordan Michael.
Right. That was a definitely a memorable character too. And he's also done some voice acting for video games. Mm-hmm. And he's also another one that has gone to a prestigious school. His alma mater is Yale University. Mm-hmm. And he also has done such a wide range of characters, all different types, and just a whole lot of different varieties of shows.
Right. And even if it's not those main roles, you'll just know he's been in pretty much everything. Movies, games, shows, everything. And you just gotta look for him.
Mm-hmm. So, Phil Lamarr, also, if you're interested and you want to know more about the characters he's done, more about his life, he has his own website, and it's simply PhilLamarr with 2 R's, .com. But before we go, we've got to mention some more about him, because his impressions are what I understand he really, really is great for doing. A lot of major stars like Bobby Brown, Ray Charles, Billy Crystal, Michael Jackson, Rick James,
oh my God,
Chris Tucker, Ben Vereen, Kanye West, Colin Powell, Sidney Poitier. We can just keep going on and on and on. He's just got some just amazing talent doing imitations. So is there something else you want to add on for Phil Lamarr? We want to spend so much more on each of these actors, but we're limiting this podcast to 30 minutes.
We'll go on and on for eternity if we don't.
So,
I think that's it, because there's so much work that he's done. And like I said, in games, movies, and shows, it would be impossible to list them all without going on for 2 hours straight in every single thing, or just even mention. So we're going to mention those specifically, like iconically Samurai Jack, Wilt from Foster's, Jon Stewart on Justice League.
Yes.
And just so many roles. But those are the most iconic, mostly for the people who grew up with those shows.
Now, we did hear a rumor, and we're not exactly sure where this is at, that he was co-creating a voice acting project that was a Kickstarter project that launched back in October of 2017. It's titled Goblins Animation, and he's supposed to be working with some real heavy hitters like Maurice Lamarr, Billy West, Jim Cummings, and Steve Blum.
Ooh.
So check that information out too, and let's give Phil Lamarr the support. This is still going when it comes out. Let's give him the support he deserves because he's well loved and he is definitely iconic, and we look for many, many more years of him giving us voice acting pleasures.
Okay.
Next on our list is a voice that is very deep, very recognizable, and whenever he does a role, immediately we both say, Kevin Michael Richardson. He has the sweetest face and the sweetest personality we've seen in interviews. And you just love when he appears in any animated series. You just are excited when you hear him. It's like, it's Kevin Michael Richardson.
Yeah.
Every time we just get excited, like, oh boy. And you look for him. I mean, he's just done a wealth of roles that anytime we're watching anything, we're just waiting to say, well, to hear Kevin Michael Richardson. You know he's going to come up.
Right. And like I said, he's another one of those voice actors been in every show you ever watch. For me, it's like Tom Kane. He's in every single cartoon you ever seen in your childhood. At some point, he is some character on there. And apparently, I remember him, I think the first time I heard him was Gantu on Leo and Stitch, when it was the movie and then the series.
Right.
I think that was the first time I heard him.
And he's just done so many. I mean, the list is absolutely exhausting that you would have to mention that he's appeared in and he's done.
Right.
But I think that's a standout role. Let's talk a little about Gantu.
Right. You know, he was the main antagonist, the main antagonist in the movie, the first movie, and then subsequently the series. They were trying to capture all the experiments. He was trying to catch them first for his boss. It was a hamster.
Right. And he was a bounty hunter, so to speak.
Right.
He was trying to hunt down the state.
Right. And every time he failed. And that was the first time I heard him, because then every time I heard another cartoon, I'm like, oh wait, that's Gantu. Oh wait, that's Gantu. And then after a while, then the list got so long, it's like, oh, he's this character now. He's this character now. It's not just Gantu now. It's just a whole Constitution long list of roles.
Right. And another favorite role for me hearing him in that I just want to point out quickly is the Doctor, Dr. Payne on the Proud Family.
Yeah,
because we thought it was Mr. T.
Yeah.
But he did such a great impersonation. It was like, oh, it's Kevin Michael Richardson. Oh my God.
Yeah, every time he would always hurt the dad on there. Every time he's getting a call that fool. You need to be covered. And now he's gonna be in a couple other shows, and right now, you know, he's gonna be back on Young Justice because he was voice of Martian Manhunter.
Yes.
He'll come back in Thundercats. Possibly gonna be in Transformers. You know, the Robots in the Sky series. He might show up in there. And you know, now he was on Gravity Falls as the sheriff. Now he's on Star as Romulus.
Right.
And yeah, he's constantly in things. So there's never a time you're watching a show and you don't hear him nowadays.
And I'm really excited. I'm glad you brought up Young Justice because I'm really so excited. I loved him as Martian Manhunter. He made that role stick out. It was his. And the way that he portrays the character, you get this wise, I don't want to say alien, but he was an alien. This wise alien who has an understanding of what it takes to cooperate and get along with people. He's seen a lot that's happened on his planet, and now he knows what, mercy and different things mean. And all of this comes across in Kevin Michael Richardson's voice, and I have to say the whole name.
Yeah, because it sounds wrong if you don't. It's like Jackie Lynn Jones. You gotta say the whole name or it doesn't sound right.
Right. All of this comes across when he portrays this character. All of it. And he was just a perfect choice for Martian Manhunter. So I'm so glad you brought that up because, yes, we are looking so forward to Return of Young Justice, and he is one of many awesome incredible voice actors that are on that show. So we can't wait to see you back on there and in anything and everything that comes along. We love you, Kevin Michael Richardson. Thank you for the happy, wonderful memories that you give us.
And keep being in more stuff. We never want to stop seeing you hearing you in cartoons.
And many more to come. And our next spotlight is on Kimberly Brooks.
Yep. And you know her now. She's been in quite a few shows,
including My Little Pony.
Right. But I think most people right now know her as Allura on Voltron Legendary Defender.
And I think this will be the voice role for her that makes her historical. I really do. And not to say that the other project she's worked on aren't as great, but it's just this character is so iconic for many reasons. And in this reboot. And she was the perfect choice. And she does a great job as Allura. I mean, she's fabulous as Allura.
All right.
But let's give a shout out to some of her other projects in addition.
Okay. She was in Mucha Lucha.
Oh, we love that show.
Yeah, with the wrestling school, and she was Buena Girl.
Yeah.
She's in Steven Universe as the voice of Jasper.
Mimi in Dexter's Laboratory.
Oh yeah,
Dee
and Dee Dee and Meep Meep and whatever and Meep Meep. And now, as we just said, Allura on Voltron Legendary Defender.
Right.
But she has done just so much. Because if you look, there's probably just a whole list of people. Even if they're just extras or just one episode, she always gets a shout out to it because it's just like you have a legend on here. You gotta have a mention of her on here.
That's right. And if you want to take a look at all of the voice work she's done and learn a little more about her, she has her own website as well. It's called KimberlyBrooksVoiceover.com. And go there and leave a message and show her some love because she, as you said, legend. That is the best word to describe her. Kimberly Brooks is a legend.
Yep.
She's been in the business a while. She's beautiful. She is great in interviews. A few times I've seen her. And it's just great that you have her out there representing women because she has these great roles that represent a diverse variety of female characters. And that's what's great about it. I mean, think about it. She doesn't have this stereotypical roles that she does. She's done everything.
Right. And like I said, there's all these roles. There's way more than what we mentioned. But I can also mention Scooby-Doo. She's one of the voices of these band members. They have a fictional band called Hex Girls, and she's one of the voices of her. I think her name's Luna.
Okay. Yes, that's it. That's correct. And she's also done a ton of voice overs for video games.
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't play any of them, but it's definitely a lot. There are big time franchises, and I kind of are playing certain characters in there, whether they're probably like for one or two games or for characters that remain the whole series.
And I really like that she's done Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham Batgirl.
Oh my gosh.
And another one that I've forgotten about is she was in the Winx Club as Stormy. I mean, we watched a few episodes of it and the type of show that it was, we went to the end and watched the end. But that being said, she was Stormy. So again, she does all these iconic characters. So Kimberly Brooks is awesome.
Yeah, most definitely. And just has to get a mention, or no, not just a mention, just a shout out to all the work she's done over the years.
Absolutely.
And also contributing to great and iconic cartoons.
Right. So, from what we understand, she's been a voice actress since 1994, and we look forward to many, many more years of your wonderful voice, your wonderful ability, and to you just continue to be the legend that you are. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We love you, Kimberly. And we got two more.
We got Keith Ferguson.
And Keith Ferguson actually voices her father, the King, on Voltron Legendary Defender. What he did as a hologram and in the flashbacks. And he's another one who has this chameleon ability when doing various characters.
Right.
And we were not as familiar with Keith Ferguson before a few years ago.
Right.
now that we know him, we are just really impressed, and we look forward to when we see credits, we go, oh, that was Keith Ferguson.
Right.
Oh, that was Keith Ferguson. Awesome.
Right.
But our favorite role has to be him as the king on Voltron Legendary Defender.
Right.
It's got to be.
And a lot of our viewers will also know him as Who is the Great Galaxy's Greatest Evil?
Oh my gosh, Dominator! I forgot.
The hater.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hater.
The hater.
Yes. Duh. Yes, so, and that is a character that's going to go down in history for him.
Right.
Because Hater is well loved. He's a villain, but he's well loved, and the way he voices his character is absolutely hilarious. And I can't imagine anyone else doing that.
Right.
I
It's
don't
just
know
so crazy.
How I had a brain fart and forgot that. I'm so sorry. Yes, Lord Hater.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So
And-
two favorites.
Right. And he's still definitely in other roles, just not as big as, I think Hater's probably his biggest role to date. He's probably got another one coming soon, but he was also on Star for a little bit as the sensei, and he's just really fun. Whenever he does the voices, he's just, even if you don't recognize him each one, he still makes each one unique, and it's just fun hearing him. Like when you hear all these other people we've mentioned, it just brings to life the character he voices.
Right, definitely.
And he also did Robot Chicken and the Star Wars parody, so I guess he does a great impersonation of it to keep doing it continuously.
Right. So we definitely want to give a shout out to you. Although we've just learned of you a few years ago with Wander Over Yonder and Voltron Legendary Defender, we've been able to go back and see work you've done. And now we also, again, as we mentioned earlier, we look for your name in credits, and we look for you in voice animation a lot. So thank you for your contribution, because you've just given two characters that we love memorable performances that will go on for decades and decades.
Right.
For kids that watch it, they'll love you as adults, and for adults like me that watch you now, will just continue to love you. So thank you for your contribution to animation. You are awesome, and you are an incredible chameleon.
Yep.
Now our last shout out is going to be to Augie Banks.
Yes, and we mentioned earlier that he was in the Flex Armstrong series along with Keith David, and he does the voice of one of the heroes.
Right. And the show, from what we understand, it has been renewed for a second season on Netflix.
So we'll be seeing him some more.
Right, and if you have Netflix, go on and watch the show. We were kind of not sure about it, but once we watched a few episodes, we really liked it. We want to shout out also that in this show as well, you got Josh Keaton also, and Stephen Young.
Yeah.
They're all doing voices on the show, so it's got an incredible cast of voice acting hard hitters. But he also voiced another favorite character of ours, Claude, in the original Monster High franchise.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Claude Wolf. And we love that character. And it's so sad in the reboot that a lot of these characters that we know and love, especially a lot of the man stars, are not in the
Yeah, they took out quite a
sequels.
few, I guess, to make room for new ones.
Right.
And for new voice actors as well. And let's see what else was he in. He was also in Mom's Teenage Robot. He was in Kids Next Door as number 5,000. Like, how far do these numbers go? He was in the original Ben 10. And he was in Omniverse. And apparently in The Secret Saturdays, which I hadn't seen in quite a while.
Wow.
I think I've heard of it. I think, wasn't that the show that got a crossover with Ben 10 at some point? Because I'm not sure. I know he had
I'm
one
not
with
sure.
Generator Rex, but I think there was one they probably did in Omniverse, and they did a small crossover episode, I think. But yeah, he's done quite a few voices around the
And
animation.
one of your favorites, My Life as a Teenage Robot.
Oh yeah, as George.
Yeah. And he's also done some anime work, Marmalade Boy, Mobile Suit, Gundam Unicorn, Naruto.
What the heck is that?
There's not shows that we watch, but we're just so happy when our favorite voice actors continue to get lots and lots of work. But again, our favorites for you is Claude and Monster High.
I
We
gotta
love
be.
And that happy that you're in Stretch Armstrong as well. And lastly, he's also done some voiceover for video games.
Right.
So just take a look and look him up. He also is credited under other names you might want to take note of. Augie Banks III, O.G. Banks, Hank Banks, Henry Banks, and Marcus Griffin. So he's done a lot of work under different monikers. So he has a distinctive voice in Monster High and also in the Stretch Armstrong series. So just kind of listen for that and you'll hear him.
Right.
Now, our last shout out for our Black History Month Spotlight is going to be an all-star cast spotlight. And the winner is the Proud Family.
Oh man, everyone remembers that show. If you watch Disney, there's some point you had to see the Proud Family. It's probably one of Disney's best shows, and I don't know why you don't put this thing out on DVD.
And what stands out about the cast of this show is there are so many legendary actors and incredible voice actors who made up the regular cast of this show. You had Kyla Pratt, who had been in quite a few Disney movies,
right?
Like the Dr. Dolittle,
right? Definitely not starting out there, along with Raven Simone, who's another Disney person,
right? And she did appear in one episode where they had a family gathering, and she was one of the relevant.
Oh yeah, sure did.
But as part of the regular cast, you also have Tommy Davidson of Living Color fame, and he was the dad, and he was hilarious and perfect. And Paula J. Parker, who, unless you have seen this movie series a long time ago, I know you haven't, the Friday movies by Ice Cube. And she was in the first movie as his crazy girlfriend with the long braids.
And here,
you know I love your mama.
That's right, because in here she's a very kind and strict mom, and you're like, what the heck happened? Like,
it was
a reverse.
It's wonderful. You know, it's range, and you're so happy to see that. Then you got Jo Marie Payton from Family Matters,
right?
Who was the wife of the main character, Carl,
right?
And she does a great Sugar Mama. Sugar Mama is my favorite character on this show.
Oh, everyone loves Sugar Mama. Everyone loves Sugar Mama. Looney Cat, I know you watching this. You love Sugar Mama.
And I forgot Tommy Davidson not only voices Oscar, but also his brother as well.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be like James Brown. Right. Was it Bobby Brown? But it looked like James.
He's kind of lost in a time warp. He's dressed like he's in the 70s, and he speaks 70 lingo, and he sings songs, man, when he talks. Yeah. But it's so hilarious that he does Oscar Proud. And then he does his own brother, and it sounds like two totally different people. The first time when I saw the credits and saw that he was doing both voices, I was like, are you kidding? Oh my gosh. But then think about him on Living Color and the range he had doing just an assortment of characters. And even if you weren't born when Living Color was here, just like Rascal, you can watch the reruns, and she's seen almost every episode that's been rerun on, I can't remember what cable channel. But you can watch them and still see these episodes, and they also have the series on DVD. So there's a shout out to the show, because not just the family, but even the guest stars. Name some of the incredible voice acting guest stars they've had on this show, like Carlos Alazarki.
Oh yeah,
for Rocco's Modern Life. Tara Strong,
right? Who was the voice of the BB and CC, the babies.
And she's perfect. I mean, oh my gosh.
And they had Orlando Brown as Sticky Web. And he was hilarious as him. I know at one point they had Steve Harvey on there as a talking credit card.
Yes.
That just had me laughing.
Oh, and the one who does Al Roker.
Yeah.
The weatherman who's the devil. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's this magical genie with devil powers, like Roker!
And you also have as Dejanay, who was one of the most memorable characters on the show. She's voiced by, I think it's Karen Molina White.
Is that right?
Yes, Karen Molina White. And her voice she reminds me in a sense in this role, like Cree Summer. She's got this voice that you just can't forget it. If she uses it for any other character, immediately you're going to know it's her. But Dejanay is one of the most hilarious characters on the show, and she's truly a standout. And I said guest appearances, but we're still doing the regular cast, but that's okay. But this is why this all-star cast deserves a shout-out in this podcast. It was an incredible show, full of incredible voice actors, full of great writing, great comical situations.
Right.
And they did have some great guest stars who we really don't have time to mention now.
Right.
We miss the Proud Family. We are just looking forward to one day when Disney, please Disney, put this show on DVD so we can own it.
Yeah, it's time to put it out because I'm tired of waiting for On Demand to put it up every year because it's just a really fun show to watch. You can watch it over and over again, never get tired of it.
But I am truly grateful that it is on demand from time to time and that we can go back and watch those shows and enjoy them still.
Right.
One more person I want to give a shout out to before you finish is this character that Omarion did. He did this awesome, hilarious character called 15 Cent.
Oh,
and he would call Penny Ponytail.
Yeah, and I'm sorry when they said, "Oh, girl, that's 15 cents." What the heck is that 15 cent? He's only half of the 50 cent.
He's less than half. He's 15, not 50. He's 35 cents short. But this is why this show it just had to get a shout out because of the great, incredible cast of voice actors and characters that it produced. And during Black History Month, Disney tends to show some of the episodes. There's one in particular where she goes back into the past. She gets hit on the head.
Yeah.
And she goes back to the 60s.
Right. And that one is like the whole neighborhood is in the time of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and before he made his I Have a Dream speech. He was kind of seeing like she didn't want to do this report she had to do for school. And during the dream, she understands why that speech was important in history. And she sees like she only has like certain friends that like Zoe wasn't her friend in that in the dream, and she didn't hang out with certain people because of what was happening. And it was really a great lesson, especially for February and for kids who probably were just learning about Martin Luther King or didn't know well. And that would be one of the best ones, along with like a movie called Our Friend Martin. It's great that it addressed it. Yeah,
it's definitely an iconic episode from that show, and there were so many iconic episodes, but that one stands out. And it stands out so much that I don't know if you've seen it this year, but every year prior to this year, Disney has shown it multiple times during the month in honor of Black History Month. So I know there are many, many other Black voice actors that are out there. We don't have time during this limited podcast to give a shout out to you individually, but we want to tell each and every one of you thank you for being an example that children can look up to in terms of a career in voice acting and know that there's room for everyone in this field, being legends in animation, being pioneers in many instances back when some of them first began animation, like with Kimberly Brooks back in 1994.
Right.
Developing and creating iconic characters with your talents. There's just so much to be said for you. Thank you so much for your contribution to animation, to our world, to history, in terms of some of the characters you've voiced and that will live on in our hearts. Just thank you so much. You really have made a difference in millions of lives of children, including my daughter Rascal, and including me. I'm an adult, but I remember so many characters, many of you have voiced throughout the decades when I was younger. And I still love them, and I look forward to more work that you do. So, final thoughts for you.
Like I said, I don't think a lot of these cartoons would be the same without some of these key actors. Absolutely. I'm not saying that the other ones aren't important either, but everybody in there, including the people we've mentioned in this video, have all been a part of a show that has had a big place, an iconic place in animation and in animation history and people's childhood, and what inspires them to create their own things, and inspiration from the characters that become just so lovable or likable or memorable from all these shows they've been in.
Absolutely. Each of you has left your mark that cannot be erased and will never be erased. And again, just thank you for so much, and we are so grateful for you and so grateful to you for giving us just hundreds and hundreds of hours of entertainment and memories. So, thank each and every one of you, as well as those that we didn't have a chance to mention.
Yeah.
So, that's it for this Spotlight podcast. Thank you for listening.
I'm Rascal Entertainments.
And I'm Mama Entertainments.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace.
the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket, give it to you later on in the